Thinking. So what is thinking and how we understand thinking, and what is thinking in the context of language education? So one, I call it wisdom, because when I talk to people who teach languages, this is what I hear very, very often. So language is always about thinking. You can't teach a language and not develop people's thinking skills. So because they are very much interconnected. So, what do you think about it? Would you agree or not agree? Because there is another view. It's quite radical. I told you yesterday I can be evil. So when told about all people thinking, Leontiev, you know, Leontiev is one of very famous Russian psychologists. When you take the Russian school of psychology, and you know that Vygotsky is one of the most often referred to people in educational literature, and basically Russian psychology school goes back to Vygotsky. So Leontiev is one of famous Moscow psychologists who developed Vygotsky's ideas. We'll be speaking about Vygotsky later on. Is that when told about all people thinking, Leontiev always said, remember that a person's head doesn't produce any thinking. Thinking just goes through our head and occasionally gets richer. However, thinking as such belongs not to a person but society as a whole, and it might only be taken by separate people, or not taken. So, if you compare these two views, they are very, very different. So one view basically tells us that thinking is always there. So whatever we do, we always develop people thinking. And the other view basically tells us this is crap. Lots of people who don't do any thinking. So, and the view that a person is always thinking is not true. So I think these are two extremes, and I think it's always nice to start with extremes when we want to be speaking about some notion and define something. But I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this is very much the view behind Vygotsky and psychology. Because this is a funny thing. Vygotsky is very often quoted in different books, but in a certain way. And these kind of radical things usually don't appear in English-speaking literature, due to some reason. So what do you think? Which view is closer to what you currently believe? Or maybe something else?
It depends exactly what you mean by thinking, because I think, for example, if I think of children learning a language, if they're learning words, it can be pure memory, or you can teach them how to think about learning. And, you know, it depends exactly what, of course they're thinking, but
maybe learning words is not only learning, it's also thinking. Because if you make when you learn something that is very strange for you, you make bridges. For instance, as I came here, I don't give classes to one class. I have students for many. And then I went to the classes and I told I'm going to a country that in Portuguese is named Letonia. And in what? And I made a bridge. Letonia não é leitão, leitão is a pork. And I say, it's not leitão, Letonia. Yeah? Then Riga, and they said, Riga? And I said, it's not barriga, it's Riga. And then when something is very strange for little children, we can make bridges, and then we are thinking. You don't, I think you don't learn only words. You're not a dictionary. You make always some kind of association, and then you're thinking.
So, well, I think what one of the things one of the distinctions at least we can make is that we have various processes happening in our head and sometimes we refer to thinking as a kind of collective way, referring to all those processes happening in our head. Another understanding would be to refer to thinking, and this would be more this kind of view, as a kind of social thing that when society accumulates certain ways of dealing with the world, conceptualizing the world, and this is a social thing rather than a personal thing, and then when a person grows, he or she can learn these things, and in this respect we can develop his or her thinking. So, and then development of thinking according to this view would be basically helping a person to take the experience of society in thinking. This would be the social view behind this kind of Russian school of psychology, very much. While this common wisdom would be more referring to thinking as all these collective processes happening in the people's heads.